Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 71-626. This is a typical common push plate. It's typical and common because of a variety of things. The gauge of the material, the size of the plate, the rectangular nature. It's ubiquitous, just a typical rectangular push plate. Push plates are available in common sizes. The most common two would be 3.5 by 15 and 4 by 16. Excuse me. Other sizes would be 6 by 16, 8 by 16, 4 3/4 by 20, 3 by 12. However, it's just a push plate. If you were to put it horizontally, it could be a kick plate or an armor plate or a stretcher plate or a mop plate. The point I'm driving at is you can have any size you want. It's just a piece of flat material that can be sheared to any size. So if you had a need for a custom push plate, and it happens all the time, you might want one that's 6 by 24 3/4. You can have that. That's not a problem at all. So be mindful that this is a 4 by 16. It's just the de facto common. I don't think it's actually the right size to use. And if you walk into, say, a restaurant restroom, you may notice a wear pattern on the outside of the plate, and that's because the hand is just bigger than 4-inch wide. So while 6-inch would be more effective, now you start to really detract away from the look of the door itself when you have all this quite conspicuous hardware hanging from it. Now, this is a 71 from Donjo, and that means a number of things, okay? And we'll talk about the finish in a moment. And by the way, the scratched surface you see here is just the peel-away protective film protecting the finish below, which we'll reveal in a moment. Now, the 71 is literally 4-inch by 16. This material is 50 thousandths thick. According to my caliper, this material is 0.049, so pretty good. 50 thousandths would be typical. You can order other thicknesses. Well, you can order one other thickness. You can generally get this material in 1/8 of an inch, or 0.125. You can do other base materials. This happens to be brass. You can do aluminum. You can do stainless. You can do plastic laminates. You can do clear Lexan or plexiglass. Lots of different items. You can do different shapes. You can, have half circle units as well. And you'll see that very often in pairs of doors where you have leading towards the hinge side in a pair of doors. You see those in movie theaters all the time, I think. This also will feature a beveled edge. You're not going to really be able to see it much on the camera, but they will swipe the edge down. Okay, they'll put a bevel on this edge. If it wasn't beveled, this would be a dangerous proposition, what I'm doing, on a piece of 50 thousandths thick brass. You can order this in lieu of the screw mount, and screws are included in a complimentary finish. Maybe 6 by 1 oval undercut head machine screws. You can do these with an adhesive mount as well. Some people want an adhesive mount because they don't have a screw, they don't have a screwdriver, they don't have a drill, they don't want to deal with it. Peel and stick. No problem, put it on. Obviously no holes in that scenario. You can get these with rounded corners as well. You'll see those. And Donjo also does a nice amount of work. We have a client who purchases regularly stainless steel push and pull sets that have a hole for a cylinder. I believe theirs is 1.5 inch hole, so they're putting some sort of, or maybe 1.25 inch, I forget what it is. But they obviously have a deadbolt that's involved on their push-pull. Very common for bathrooms. You'd have a classroom-style deadbolt, where on the inside you can always retract the bolt, but you can never throw the bolt. And if it were to be locked from the outside, you can always, again, retract the bolt. So cutouts are available. Now, that finish, this is 606. In the world of finishes, 606 means 3 things. It means it's made of solid brass. That's number 1. You can see the back side of that. That's brass. Number 2, it's in a satin brushed finish. And number 3, it has a clear lacquer on it. And I'll tell you, just take a look at that brass. Okay, you see the scratches and the nicks. That's just the peel away film. We peel that away. That is a beautiful satin brass. Now, satin brass is a tricky finish, and I see satin brass from lots of manufacturers over the period, let's say, of a year, and I'll see great variations. Some of it I see will be certainly leaning towards into the satin bronze realm, but Don Joe has done a very good job with a satin brass. According to my eyes and my experience, that is a good satin brass. I would have no problem with that at all. That lacquer is there to help protect the finish, is why that's there. Now, let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at some of the supporting documentation. Okay, so this is the item that we are looking at. Not too much to see here at all. The description that we had touched on just earlier. There's a link to the document called Template, and that will give you, obviously, a dimensional review of the item. Shows you where the screw holes are located and the size of the hole that's in the plate itself. Refers to other finishes available. Let's go through it. 605 is polished brass. 606 satin brass, 609 antique brass, 612 satin bronze, 613 oil rub bronze, 619 satin nickel, 620 antique nickel, 626 satin chrome, 628 clear anodized aluminum, 629 polished stainless, 630 satin stainless. So we've got brass, bronze, aluminum, and stainless base materials mentioned here. They will certainly do a black powder coat, I'm quite sure. That's the new vogue finish that's been occurring for the last couple of years. Maybe other powder coat finishes, but certainly black. Powder coat is a very durable type finish, and I think would be very appropriate for a push plate. Now, there is a link here below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can review not only all of the Don Joe products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to their complete catalog, but we've broken that up into these subsections. So let's take a look at the pulls, push, and pull plates subcategory portion, and we'll take a look at the 71. We'll do a find function on our keyboard for 71, and we will eventually get there. Okay. 050 push plates. 71 is the 4x16, and you can see how the part number changes as that size changes. And we mentioned all of these sizes as well. Number 6x5/8 oval head sheet metal screws, oval undercut head. Yeah, 5/8. I may have said that they were 1 inch earlier. That's clearly too long. Torque screws, if you needed to have security screws, can be done. Engraving can be done, like push or pull, etc. Okay. New magnetic, apparently. I don't recall having done a magnetic push plate, but it would be simply, a magnetic strip with a self-adhesive tape applied on it. That's not unusual. In terms of, it's not unusual in the world of weather stripping. You'll see magnetic weather stripping. Not unlike your refrigerator, which would have magnetic weather stripping. Custom sizes, again, available. Rounded corners. Okay. They could probably do a radiused edge as well. So you can do a radiused corner, and you can do a radiused end as well. I'm sure that they can probably do that. I had mentioned the 125 thousandths thickness, only stainless steel from Don Joe on an 1/8 of an inch thick plate. And as you go through the rest of the catalog, you're going to find other trim and auxiliary hardware as it pertains to push and pull. Pretty self-explanatory. Ladder pulls are here. Pull plates. Plates with different pulls applied to them. Those are the cylinder preparation. I would absolutely suggest if you're going to drill a hole through the plate, let the factory do it. Not a big deal when you're doing brass or aluminum, but you don't want to drill through stainless. That's dreadful to do without the right tools, without the right cutting tools. And obviously something as nice as a polished brass or a satin brass or an antique nickel, why take the chance of you mucking it up? Let the factory do it. Really isn't going to change the lead time at all. Flush pulls are here as well. The 1846 would be a handicap compliant version. That's got a particular size that would make it compatible with handicap requirements. Push pull plates, a little returned off edge here. Cylinder pull, those are nice because if you have an exit device and you want key access. You can run a rim cylinder through it, and you can add this tiny little pole outside, so not much trim hanging off there. Cabinet knobs are in this catalog as well. This foot pole is nice. You can clamp this or screw it to the bottom of your door and literally use your foot to grab it and pull it out. Don't sell many of those, but we have mounting types for those pole plates. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, the name Don Joe has been synonymous with trim and auxiliary hardware for many years, decades. If you know the name Don Joe at all, you probably do for their latch protectors and their door reinforcing wraparound plates. If you know that name, you probably aren't thinking of them for push plates. So on that manufacturer's page, you can pull up the single catalog, the single section catalog for their latch protectors and for their door reinforcing plates. The point is if your on-ramp to Don Joe are one of those two product lines, take a look at the other stuff. This is a very nice looking satin brass finish. Many other items that they sell. They're an independent company. When you call over to them, you generally speak to one of two, maybe three people. Generally, almost exclusively, the person who answers the phone can answer every question you ask of them. Where's my stuff? Can you make this? What's the lead time? Can you send me a copy of the tracking number? Everything that you'd ask for them to provide you. That same person can generally do that. They keep it simple. On the rare occasion that they make a mistake, they make it good immediately. And that's what it takes. Any questions on the 71 in a 606 finish or any other Don Joe product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.